What is up, guys? Today we're going to be comparing the G8 to the Galaxy A51. So trying to help one of my subscribers here with this purchasing decision. So it's pretty interesting because they're both priced at the same price range, but obviously the G8 is just going to be the better phone overall. But I do want to break it down to sort of explain why you might go with the A51. But let's go ahead and get into it. So the G8 is around 250 and the Galaxy A51 is around 280. So as you can see, extremely close in price ranges. Now the price does fluctuate on the G8, so it could be 250, 280 right now. So you just have to watch out for the price fluctuations. But starting off with the hardware, you're going to see just a big difference here. Glass and metal on the G8, very premium, feels very nice in the hand. Now the A51 is a bit thinner and lighter, and I'm not going to knock it for that because some people just like lighter, thinner phones. Now it is a plastic build. It definitely does not feel as premium as a glass and metal phone, but looks nice. I guess the camera, the quad camera setup on here does look a little bit more modern, but I do like the flat camera setup on the G8 as well. You've got the fingerprint scanner, the physical fingerprint scanner on the back, and on the A51 you have one built into the display. So now they both have USB Type-C, they both have the headphone jack on board as well, and you have one single firing speaker on both of these devices. All right, so let's talk about the display. So this is where these two phones really differ here, so it's interesting. So you have a POLED display on the G8. It's a 6.1 inch 1440p 564, just a beautiful display, high pixel density. Now on the Galaxy A51 you have a much bigger display. It's a 6.5 inch display, and the bezels and everything are just a little bit slimmer, just looks a little bit more up to date. And you have the punch hole. Now it is a Super AMOLED display, 1080 by 2400, 405 for the PPI. So as you can see, not as sharp as the G8's display. And overall, just looking at both displays, the display quality on the G8 is definitely 100% better than this Super AMOLED display. It's not the same in the Galaxy S20 Ultra or something like that. It's just not the same display. Now, like I said, the punch hole is going to be better looking than the notch on the G8, most definitely, especially when viewing content. It's just going to be more of an immersive experience, especially with the slimmer bezels. It just kind of feels like you're holding a display in your hand, pretty much. But as far as display quality, the G8 is definitely going to be the way to go. It's just a higher resolution. It just overall looks better, and it's just a sharper display here. So that's something you kind of have to kind of make a decision on. Do you like the punch hole with the slimmer bezels, or do you want just a sharper, overall better display, but you have to deal with that notch there? So it's really up to you when it comes to that. Now both phones are actually running Android 10. LG has their skin on it, the LG UX 9.0, and then you have Samsung's Android 10 with One UI 2.0, which is very nice. As far as software experience wise, they're both very fast, very snappy. One UI 2.0, if you're a Samsung fan, obviously you're gonna have all of those features. I think they even have the secure folder on the A51. I believe you don't have that on the G8. So it's just packed with a whole bunch of features that I personally just never use, but it is there. You have the Bixby Home as opposed to the Google Now on the G8, which some people prefer Bixby. So if you're a dedicated Samsung fan and you just lean more towards having a lot of customizations on your phone, then definitely the A51 is a really good choice. It has the latest software just like the Galaxy A20 here, so that's really nice. So this is where this comparison starts to it starts to not be close here. So you have the A55 on the G8 along with the Adreno 640. Now on the A51 you have the Exynos 9611 with the Mali G72, much weaker processor than the A55. If you're into gaming and stuff like that, you're going with the G8 100%. You'll be able to play games on high. On the A51 you will not, and you cannot play Fortnite on the base model because it only has 4 gigs of RAM as opposed to the 6 gigs of RAM on the G8. So if you're a gamer, you're definitely going with the G8 100%. Now you do have micro SD card support on both of these guys. Base storage for the G8 128, base storage for the A51 is 64 gigs. So the cameras on here, the camera situation is pretty interesting. So on the A51 you have a 48 megapixel standard, you have a 12 megapixel ultra wide, a 5 megapixel macro camera, which I like, and a 5 megapixel depth sensor. 4K selfie is 32 megapixels, shoots in 1080p. On the G8 you have a 12 megapixel standard and a 16 megapixel ultra wide. So yes, you are lacking the depth sensor and the macro camera on here, but it does shoot in 4K 30 or 60 FPS. The selfie camera is 8 megapixels on the G8 and it also shoots in 1080p. As far as camera quality, I really like the G8 just a little bit more than the A51. As I compared the A51 even to the Note 8, and it did not beat the Note 8 in the camera comparison. So I just prefer the photos. I just think dynamic range is better, color accuracy is better sometimes. I just think the photos just come out just a little bit better. But like I said, you have the macro camera, the depth sensor, those lenses on there that are really cool, very fun to play with. The A51 has definitely a great camera for this mid-range price point, so it is a really good camera. Just compared to the G8, I just think it falls just a little bit, but it is pretty subjective because it is a little bit close. But you do have NFC on the G8 and you do have NFC on the A51 for mobile payments, so that is there for those of you who use it. So the battery situation is pretty interesting as well because the battery life is just great on both of these phones. So on the A51 you have a 4,000 milliamp battery, 15 watt fast charging, will 100% get you through the day, no problem. In the G8, even having the smaller battery, 3,500 milliamp, and it actually charges faster at 21 watts, and you have wireless charging, so that's really great as well. But you can definitely get through a day of battery life very easily on the G8, no problem. So if you want to see those battery drain tests, it is on the channel on both these phones. So overall, two great phones. If you were gonna ask me, I would go with the G8 all the way, just for the processor and just the better display. Now when it comes to the display, like I said, it really comes down to do you prefer, the punch hole or the higher res. So it really comes down to that. But yeah, if you were gonna ask me, I would go with the G8, but the A51 is a solid buy if you're a Samsung fan and you really love the One UI software. Also, you have just more cameras to play with, and the display is just really nice on here with the slim bezels and the punch hole. It's just really nice. So overall, two great phones. What do you guys think? Be sure to let me know, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.